So the pseudo-season finale of The Walking Dead just aired, and in it was showcased the fall of the Whisperers. And I thought, what better way to pay tribute to our fallen brethren and Beta himself than with a deck that showcases Whisper Squad? This is the Whisperers. Alright, so Whisper Squad, how do we make it work for us? We have engines on top of engines on top of engines. So we're looking at Fiend Artisan, Lurrus, Ayara, and Bastion of Remembrance. All of these cards work together to do some crazy things. So first off, Fiend Artisan will let us sacrifice Whisper Squad to search for something bigger or to search for a very specific silver bullet target to bring into play. And this works great because Whisper Squad lets us bring more copies of Whisper Squads into play without wasting cards. So we can sacrifice all these extra Whisper Squads to get triggers off of Fiend Artisan to get a bunch of really relevant creatures into play. We've also got Lurrus, so that when we do sacrifice the Whisper Squads, we can bring them back. Or if we sacrifice anything at all to Fiend Artisan, we can keep bringing it back with Lurrus. And we kind of have an engine going there where it just keeps happening. And we get tons of triggers off of things like Bastion of Remembrance, where whenever one of our creatures dies, we'll drain them for 1 life. Or Ayara, whenever a creature of ours comes into play, we'll drain them for 1 life. So using all of these cards together, you kind of have a recursive theme here where we just keep draining them for tons. We draw cards off of Ayara. We search out bigger relevant threats with Fiend Artisan. And we just get a ton of value. So starting at the bottom of the curve, we have 4 copies of Archfiend's Vessel. And this is great because when it does end up in the graveyard, we bring it back as a 5/5 flyer with things like Lurrus and some of our other graveyard recursion in the deck. And it becomes a really significant threat. So we can sack it to a Fiend Artisan and then bring it back later, or we can find one with a Fiend Artisan by only paying 2 mana and then sack it in subsequent turns so that we can get that engine going. And it gets really awesome. We've also got 2 copies of Serrated Scorpion, because the extra drains and the chip damage can really add up. So if we can search for a Scorpion with Fiend Artisan and then continuously sack it each turn and bring it back, we can do a lot of damage to them without even attacking. We've also got 2 copies of Village Rites, because if we're in a situation where we want to sacrifice something, we can get a bunch of card draw off of it and really get some extra value. But also it's great to just hold this up as an instant for 1 mana. And if they go to use any kind of removal on your stuff, you can cast the Village Rites in response and make sure that your creature goes to the graveyard. And this is great if they have removal that exiles, because you can make sure that that creature goes back to your graveyard instead of getting exiled, and then you can keep bringing it back with our recursive engines, and it'll be there for future use. We've also got 4 copies of Bloodchief's Thirst as our removal suite. Bloodchief's Thirst is great because in the early game, it's essentially like a Black Shock. But then later in the game, when you get it, you can kick it, and you could take out something as devastating as like an Ugin with just this spell. So having the dual purpose of like the early game answer their tempo plays, but then late game answer their value plays, makes this thing very versatile and really great. We've also got 2 copies of Skyclave Shade, because it just keeps putting on pressure and it never goes away. If they kill it, you keep bringing it back, either with a landfall trigger or with Lurrus. You can sacrifice it to Ayara or Fiend Artisan and then get it back just by landfalling. You can do so much. And then in the mid to late game, you can kick it, add even more value, and then also toss a Demonic Embrace on it to have insane amounts of attacking power that they can't get rid of. And if they get rid of the Shade, you bring it back. If they get rid of the Demonic Embrace, you can discard a card to recast that. So it's like a 6-power recursive threat that's with evasion that just keeps coming every turn if you play your cards right. It gets really crazy. We've got 1 copy of Tymaret because we can search it out with Fiend Artisan. And it's especially helpful when they're playing, graveyard shenanigans and you need to exile things. You can find the 1 copy of Tymaret, get it into play, and then get rid of their problem cards. We've got the 4 copies of Bastion, of course, because that's part of the engine. That's going to drain them for a bunch every time we sack things and get things back or chump block or whatever. We have 2 Call of the Death Dweller. Great card. I'd love to find more room for it. Unfortunately, the deck's really, really tight, and even just the 2 copies goes a long way. You know, we can use it to get back a Lurrus, or we can use it to get back a Fiend Artisan and a Vessel as a 5/5 flyer, and it's just tons of value. Moving on, we have 1 Liliana Standard Bearer. Great silver bullet target, because if you're in the right circumstances where they wipe your whole board or just a sizable amount of creatures, you can actually search for this with the Fiend Artisan, drop it into play, draw a bunch of cards. You can also do that if you get your 1 copy of Woe Strider into play, which is also another silver bullet target you can search up with Fiend Artisan. But if you already have the Woe Strider in play, you can sack your whole board and then search up the Standard Bearer, draw a bunch of cards, and it just gets nutty. Moving on, we have the 3 copies of Ayara, card advantage. We've all been there. We can keep sacrificing the Whisper Squad, keep drawing cards. It gets nutty. And then we've got 1 silver bullet copy of Rankle. Rankle's great because he's got haste, and we can search him out with Fiend Artisan. So if we're in the right circumstance, we find him, we swing in, we make them sacrifice something big, and we usually just sacrifice a 1/1. And it's really great value for us. In the mana base, we have 4 Castle Locthwains, because a lot of times if we can just get to the late game and we have a Castle Locthwain in play, we're drawing double the cards as our opponent, and if we're in top deck mode, we just get there way before they do. And sometimes that's all you need, you know? And then the last card I want to go over is another one of the new cards, which is Agadeem's Awakening. Now, this card is absolutely crazy. If we get it in the early game, we just drop it as a land, we make sure we curve out, we forget that it can even be a spell. But if we draw into it in the late game, if we top deck it, this can bring back an entire team. So if we play this for 6 mana, we can get back an Archfiend's Vessel as a 5/5 flyer, a Fiend Artisan, which is probably huge, and a Lurrus or an Ayara, and just really go to town. It just does so much, and I really think that like any mono black creature based deck needs to be running at least 2 of these, if not more. So that's pretty much the deck. I mean, it just does so much. Being able to continually bring back Whisper Squad, get more Whisper Squads out, and then use those as fodder for all of the myriad of things that the deck tries to do can just be crazy. Bringing back Skyclave Shade every turn is crazy. Getting Fiend Artisan really, really big and slapping a Demonic Embrace on it so it can just swing in for tons of damage with evasion is crazy. Like, there's just so much this deck can do, and I'm really, really proud of it. So, this is the last Fall of the Whispers, and the last redemption of Negan. Let's check it out. Porky Pig. Come on, Porky. Yeah, we'll keep this. This deck just has tons of recursive value. Most of the time our opponents just can't deal with it. Today's been good. Today's been awesome. This deck is something, man. Swing in. There's no way. There's no way he blocks. We'll gain the life. We'll play the Fiend Artisan. Fiend Artisan with Lurrus is just silly. Sack one of your dudes. Get anything you want. Bring back the dude you sacked. You can use Fiend Artisan to fetch Lurrus if you've got 4 mana. If you've got 5 mana, you can fetch Lurrus with Fiend Artisan by sacking a Vessel and then bring back the Vessel as a 5/5 flyer. And that is gross. I'm really tempted to block here. No. We're gonna need it long term. That was super tempting though. Super, super tempting. Yeah, Fiend Artisan is so overlooked and so underrated, especially in Standard. Like, he's so good. He's just so good. Just gross. Let me think for a second. Kind of want a Skyclave Shade. I think I'm just gonna do this. Pay 2. Sack the vessel. We'll get a Skyclave Shade into play. And that is an insanely good recursive threat. Insanely good. Fiend Artisan is now bigger. Like, Skyclave Shade with Demonic Embrace is just insane. Fiend Artisan is you have to pay 1 mana and X, and then search for something that costs X or less and put it into play. And you can sacrifice any creature. And the more you do it, the more stuff ends up in your graveyard, and this guy gets huge. But there's so much mill in Standard right now that it's like anti-mill tech too. They mill out half your library, and you've got a 20/20 Fiend Artisan, you slap a Demonic Embrace on it, and you just swing for the win. It gets ridiculous. We just have more things we need to do than mana to do them. If he wants to trade both of his Innkeepers for my Artisan, I am completely fine with that. If not, he goes to very little. Nope, no Mire Triton. Fiend Artisan is just extra tech. We don't even need it. We just keep pushing in with Skyclave Shade, Ayara triggers, and Bastion of Remembrance triggers. And it's just like, there's just a ton of ways to do damage that he can't stop. Like, what does he do? He kills Skyclave Shade. We drop a land, we bring it back. We discard a card to replay Demonic Embrace. And our 6 power Flying Beater is back online. And we just do it pretty much every turn. As long as we have a land down. Every time creatures come into play, Ayara's triggering. Every time creatures die, we have our Bastion that triggers. Fiend Artisan helps us bring creatures into play and kill creatures, so it's just like engines on top of engines. And it gets insane. I'm gonna wait to cast this Swamp. Actually, I don't need to. He's out of mana. If he had a way to deal with the Shade, I would swing first. In case he killed it, then I could play the Swamp and replay the Shade. So I think what we'll do here is just play Demonic Embrace on the Fiend Artisan. Swing for a whole bunch of flying damage. Seems good to me. And Omnath ain't a thing. We'll keep this. It's slow, which is unfortunate. We'll lead with the Agadeem's Awakening tap. The Undercrypt. Out the Fiend Artisan. See if it survives.
Let's go with Tymaret.
Hopefully eat one of his removal spells, and then Village Rites. That's the hope. He should assume we're not going to chump block here, and we want to keep this on the field, and that we're going to gain life back with it later. So he should, there we go, he should want to kill it. So we essentially made him waste his removal spell. And drew a bunch of cards. And that's pretty good. What we need now is for a Fiend Artisan to stick around long enough for us to put a Demonic Embrace on it. And then it's smooth sailing. Scorching and Dragonfire. How about no? How about we sack our Whisper Squad to make it bigger? That felt pretty good. Gonna use up all of his removal. Feels pretty good. We've got Call of the Death Dweller. Death Touch, Menace. Pass turn. It's pretty strong. Do you have more removal? Is your entire deck just removal? It could be. It could be. Plays Terror. Cast attackers. My turn. Okay, we'll put another Whisper Squad in play. All of the good things. Alright, we have to kill the Terror here. Because it's just too dangerous. Which means we're going to have to hold off. On the Demonic Embrace. That's okay though. If he swings, we block with the Death Toucher. We have enough mana to get another Whisper Squad. Oop, again. That's not good. That is not good. Top decked another Bloodchief's Thirst. Oh, happy days. Happy days. But I mean, his entire deck seems like it's removal, so I'm sure he'll be honest. Ooh, we're at 3. It is so close. can't replay it. We don't have enough life. We need to top deck something that will give us some life. Not quite. Not quite. Pass turn. Now he replays Croxa. Tries to kill us with the -3 life because we don't have a card in hand. And then we're going to have to draw a card to block the play. Just so that we can discard it and not lose life. Jeez. Jeez Louise. So we'll play this. We're gonna have to get something that gives us life into play. Or attacks. Which means we need to be at 4 life when he declares his attack. And that is gonna be tricky. One, I think we have to fetch an Ayara. We have to fetch something that's going to give us life right now. So it's either Ayara or Woe Strider. Woe Strider is actually probably better here. Pass turn. We can actually get him to 3 with Woe Strider. Done. Pass to attackers. Just got nothing engraved, right? So we block here. And another life. Oh boy. My turn. Can't target the Bone Crusher Giant. I think we need to play it safe. See what he does. I think we can get there. The last Whisper Squad into play. Get him with the Bastion. Got him. Alright, we'll lead with a Whisper Squad. Got you. Is he going to block? I would think no. Play the Shade. Let's get aggressive. B. Aggressive. Be aggressive. This deck is bonkers. It is bonkers. We had a little bit of bad luck earlier. So I guess we just swing with the Shade, get in for 3. And then I actually kind of want this guy dead, to be honest. If he wants to sack his savior, that's fine. Oof. No fun. Alright. Drops a Hallowed Priest. But it's not big enough yet. I'm gonna drop Ayara. We're gonna swing right through his priest. Because there's no way he's going to trade. Wow, he trades his speaker. That's surprising. We'll let him through this once. We'll just endlessly chump block with the Whisper Squad after that. Play the Shade. Pass turn. This is going to be interesting. See, now when he swings in, we'll chump with the squad. We'll use the squad's ability to make more Whisperers. And then we'll sack the squad to Ayara to draw a card. Oh, he's gonna Banishing Light. Ruins all of our plans. Oh, he's actually going for the Skyclave Shade. No, we want that in the grave. We'll sack it to Ayara. Pass to blockers. We'll block here. Do we want to block the speaker? No, we have to block there. Talk. And then activate. Let the Whisperers come. We are kind of in a rough spot. Definitely need Bloodchief's Thirst. So we're actually going to hold off on Lurrus. We're going to play this. Not perfect. Then we're going to play this. Then we're going to Bloodchief's Thirst this guy. No attacks. End turn. Next turn we drop Lurrus. He can only afford to attack with the priest here, I believe. Because Ayara can just have Daxos bounce off, and then Fiend Artisan could kill Speaker. Or not. Four, five. He made a mistake. We'll go like this, and then before damage, we'll actually use Ayara's ability, sack the Whisper Squad, draw a card, make Fiend Artisan go up to 3/3. And that, my friends, is a good play. One, two, and three. We do not have enough in the graveyard for that yet. So what we'll do is we'll swing with just the Shade first. See if he lets it through. That's fine. He won't come back. Same plan here. You know, we chump with the Whisper Squad. We use it to bring another Whisper Squad into play in response, and then we sack it to Ayara. Draw a card. Just keep doing the thing. It's pretty good. Pretty good pleading. I need more nectar though. Let's get this win. Attackers. Just can't get through, I guess. Well, we'll activate here. And then we'll sack it. Draw a card. That feels pretty good. Let's do this. Pay 3. We'll kick a Skyclave Shade. Play another Whisper Squad. No attacks. End turn. Yep, this is something. He just can't get through. We just keep chumping with a Whisper Squad, sacking it to Ayara to draw cards, triggering its ability to bring another one into play, and then replaying it with Lurrus. It's like, what do you do? We'll sack the Vessel, so we can get a flyer out. Draw a card. So this is good. We're gonna lead with this. And then we can swing. Something. Is he gonna kill the Fiend Artisan maybe by quad blocking. Nope, she's gonna chump. So we'll go like this. And like this. I'm actually gonna hold the last card in my hand and end the turn. Because I'd rather spend my money on getting another Whisper Squad right now. Oh, we already have all 4. That was a play mistake. That was a play mistake. But it's fine. We're way ahead, so... My community says, well, let's dump a Whisper Squad, draw a card. Play a land. We have 1 drops, no 2 drops, no 3 drops. Swing, swing. Swing, swing. Let's see what he does. Because if we get... No, he's just gonna chump. I was gonna say if one of the 2 drops ends up in the graveyard, we sacrifice Lurrus to Ayara, and then we Agadeem's Awakening to bring everything back. Just to get maximum value. But that did not happen. So we're going to hold on to the Awakening for now. We're going to play this dude. And this dude. And we're going to end the turn. We've pretty much got him.
That was the Whisperers. Mono Black is a contender moving forward. Don't lie to yourself. It's here to stay. Please like the channel, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Until next time, may all of your Whisper Squads be in your graveyard, while your Lurrus